we've often asked the question, when eventually will it hit home that really the people to blame for Brexit are people like Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, all like, the top tier level of those Brexiteers, the people really backing Brexit, really calling for like the harshest possible Brexit. Even Farage still to this day calling that Brexit hasn't been finished, that actually it was a massive monumental betrayal. And that, if he were in charge, well, we'd have a true Brexit, not this Beano Brexit, the Brexit in name only, when in reality, we have had a very, very hard Brexit. And as people have talked about multiple times, they've taken all different people who have voted for Brexit and basically said, hey, would you vote for Brexit again if it was going to be a hard Brexit, a soft Brexit, etc.? Multiple times. The one that has always won, and remember, this is from people who voted for Brexit, always came out for a very, very soft Brexit. And yet we ended up going for this hardcore Brexit because, well, as you know, we followed at the time. These hardcore extremist fanatics took over the whole process. Shanghaied the whole thing, even when they got into power themselves. Didn't really know what they were doing, didn't really understand what they were doing, drank their own Kool-Aid, and delivered us to an incredibly bad situation. And one thing has always been the case of when our industries, like the fishing industry, was the fishing industry going to wake up? Because Farage, biggest champion of fishing there ever was Nigel Farage. Of course, not anymore. You'll barely see him anywhere near any fishing protests or any of the things that he used to go to. As we always said, Farage is not the fisherman's friend, because it's true. He just hijacked fishing, used it for his own political gains, and then when he was done with them, just throw them under the bus. And now we are seeing increasingly in Europe, the far right in particular, really go after these farmer protests. And there's two angles that the far right are being funded by here. First of all, you've got the anti-climate lobby who are trying to sort of say, oh, look, if we go for all this net zero, if we, start looking out for the environment, then farmers are going to be put out of business. The other side, of course, is there's a lot of Russian disinformation being put out. Lots of farmers are especially complaining about the price of grain. This is because Russia, this year in particular, has dumped a large amount of grain onto the European market, more so than usual. And this has caused massive price fluctuations. This is one of the many things that farmers are complaining about. And of course, now, here in the UK, the farmer protests that we're about to talk about, well, what these farmers are complaining about Brexit. And it's so bizarre that there's Nigel reporting on essentially farmers protesting about the thing that he wanted, and yet Farage still has not yet suffered the consequences for his actions. It's kind of bizarre, but sooner or later, I think people are going to catch on. And these people are going to get their comeuppance in some way, shape, or form. Whether it be, again, as Boris Johnson is a complete almost retreat from public life completely. Farage will probably, his grift will come crashing, I think, to a very abrupt end when people sort of really realize what he was promoting. And, he's the root of all their problems when he was selling the balm. Oh, don't worry, we vote for Brexit, all your problems going to be solved. Well, so anyway, before we do get onto this, please do remember to click on the Patreon page down below. Check that out. There's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can, buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, there is the Pony Club. And thank you very much to everyone who does help support the channel. So we're going to go on to this now, because I think this definitely deserves a look at in the London Economic, covering this protest. Because I couldn't agree with it more. Yeah. Farage cuts a puzzled figure as he turns up to tractor protests in London. So Nigel Farage was left scratching his head as he turned up to report on the tractor protest in London, triggered by the post-Brexit trade deals, which have led to substantial imports and dishonest labelling. 2. of the biggest problems that are affecting farmers. These trade deals, low quality imports, massively undercutting UK food, UK farmers themselves. We said this was going to be a problem, but they didn't listen. And then, of course, dishonest labeling. You can literally slap a British label or even a British flag on a piece of meat from New Zealand. There's no UK law against that. There used to be. It was an EU law, but you can get away with it now. Partly because there's no, body looking at that type of thing. But again, something else we lost. But back to this. So, campaigning groups of Save British Farming and Fairness for Farmers are Kent assembled for a go slow convoy to drive around Westminster, with organisers saying that over 50 to 100 tractors convened, as well as other farm vehicles on Monday evening. The protesters are raising concerns over the increasingly difficulties faced by the British farming industry, which they say is now leaving the nation's food security at risk. And it is, in a way, they are right about that. We should sort of look at ways to sort of help farmers, help them do this. The whole ELM thing that has been brought in by the Conservatives to sort of replace the COP payments has been an absolutely shambolic. To the point where many farmers just cannot even use them. We reported last time about the hill sheep farmers. They can do nothing with them because they don't have the really correct type of land to be able to do the environmental stuff that they are asking for. It is just going from bad to worse for British farmers, and more British farmers are being put out of business because of now. The more and more the agricultural stuff comes from America, from Australia and New Zealand, the more it undercuts them, the worse the sales do, the more cheaply they have to try and sell their stuff, and they just cannot compete. So, what do you think ends up happening? They are trying to call for an end to the trade deals, which they say are now allowing imports of food producers to cut standards that will be illegal in the UK and undercutting British farmers. We've said this, I don't know how many times, how much these trade deals would undercut British farmers. But of course, people like Farage, oh no, we do all these fantastic trade deals. Farmers will love it. No, they won't. No, they won't at all. Organisers also criticised the labelling, which allows products to bear the Union flag when they have not been grown or reared in Britain. Again, something that used to be there, not there anymore. Wiltshire Beef and Arable land farmer of the Save British founding, Liz Webster, said that the situation now risks the security for the nation's health, saying that trade deals with New Zealand, Australia, and the CPT deal, including over 11 different countries, including Canada, Japan, and Mexico, along with the lack of proper import checks, were now allowing slower substandard foods into the country, she said. British producers had also completely lost the level playing field with EU farmers and within the UK, Ms. Webster warned. She said that the European farmers were now still receiving subsidies, had freedom improvement for labour, and had continued to have access to the British markets, enabling them to further undercut farmers in Britain. Again, she's not wrong saying that, because we are not out of but in the EU, we've lost a lot of that freedom of movement for labour, for the subsidies. It is very, very negative. Of course, you can't really accept that if you are a true Brexit believer like Nigel Farage, because according to him, all these farmers should be absolutely loving it. And remember, not too long ago, we saw the report about agricultural imports, exports, lots of imports from Australia, New Zealand. We've exported absolutely zero to those two countries because it is almost an impossible market to actually try and break into. Again, not exactly very, so we say, reciprocal on that end. So Miss Webster also said that the current situation is like going on. It's like going out with the English football team to the World Cup and saying, "Off you go. You've got chains on your legs and chains on your hands. We are completely and utterly disadvantaged." Brexit campaigner Farage was also at the protests, but his presence led to a collective sigh on social media as the former UKIPper tried to come to terms with what people were so hacked off about. And yeah, if you see the report, Farage is visibly can't get what they're trying to protest about. He doesn't really understand it. And the thing is, what they are protesting is Brexit. It's the very thing he campaigned for. I don't understand why these farmers are so angry. They should be, loving it. He's all happy that that they're angry at the government, but he can't really understand the root cause of their problems. They should be loving these trade deals. They should be trading with the rest of the world. Why aren't they trading with the rest of the world? The government should be investing in these farmers to trade with the rest of the world. Not that easy. You can't just send off meat halfway around the world. So, yeah, all these Brexit promises and all these things that we said about Brexit would come to pass. Shock horror, now coming to pass. um, Shock horror. Are we shocked? Of course not. Of course not. That it's Nigel Farage struggling to really understand that the protest going on behind him in that picture is of the very consequences he said would never happen. That we said, actually, if you're going to do this, this is going to happen. How do you solve this problem? To which, of course, Farage said, expert, go away. Or, it'll not happen. You're just going to believe in Brexit more. So clearly, these farmers are not believing in Brexit enough. They just need to clap their hands more and wish harder for the true Brexit to come and save them. But we did warn about this multiple times about how this would affect British farming. Even Patrick Minford, the infamous Brexit economist, wheeled it out. And then very quickly wheeled back in because they realized he was being a bit too honest, said that, yeah, Brexit's going to destroy British farming and the British manufacturing as well. That will take some time to do, but there are signs of that, having a very negative impact on British manufacturing at the moment. But yeah, certainly is having very, very negative impacts, and certainly does chart a very worrying trajectory. Shall we say trajectory? Worrying trajectory for the future of British farming, which is very, very worrying. And they are right to call, hey, you're going to risk the food security. So, and we've seen the importance of importing food and exporting food, how important that is during the pandemic. You do want, a good portion of your food to be able to, grow in home, as they say. So, yeah, we'll say funny old Farage, but, it is to be expected. I'll have to wonder at what point will these farmers, turn up outside at Farage's and start protesting outside his house because, like I say, he's the one responsible. But there you go. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe on the way out. And of course, links down below in the doobly-doo to help support the channel that way as well. If you would like I say, thank you very much for that. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.